Okay, so the DAX here is a little bit of a tricky one because it can go two ways. We can either have an A and a B and a C wave up here, and then we come down for another move here. So all of this becomes the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave, or we're going to have 5 waves up here. So we've got a double top here at the moment, so it's likely that we will continue to push up through here, but at the same time we know that being at a double top here, it's going to be a bit, well, we've already noticed that we're sluggish coming through, and it's going to, you know, continue that. So it's not, don't expect anything from it, so to speak, you know what I mean? It will go higher, but it will be a struggle, you know. It'll be painful to watch, so to speak. Let's just dive straight into this situation here. So this high over here is close to the previous high. We can view it in different ways. We can look at it as wave 1 here and 2 here, and we can also look at it as an A and a B wave here, so we need to be a bit careful about that. But in the meantime, we're still chopping along the way that we thought we would. So we've got, well, from wave 2 here all the way up to blue wave 3 here, we'll be looking for 5 waves, as you may know. So we've got this first wave 1 here and 2 here, and then we'll have 3 here and 4 here, and then 5 here to make that. If this was going to be an A and a B and a C wave up here, this is where it would fail here at this wave 3 here. So I can just put that there for the time being, and any long trade that you'd have, you wouldn't want to go through wave 4 on that note. You can, you know, it'll be a third, it could pull back to these wave 4s. It'll probably get supported within group 2 here, that's the norm, and we'll see this wave 5 of 3 here. It may not be that big actually, because this wave 1's pretty small here. So maybe I need to lower expectations down into, so what we could expect in this wave 5 is we could expect, because this is a corrective pattern here, we can expect this top to be taken out. So in one way or another, we could come up to this point here. Now at that length here, that's quite long compared to wave 1 here. Do you know what I mean? So we could even be pushing it a little bit at that point. Now wave 4s can come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, and because we're at an old top over here, you know, it can be forced back down in this. So I'm just doing it practically here, and then wave 5 to the upside. How far that goes is another story. We'll just have to count the waves there. But when we look at wave 1 here, wave 3 is nice and long here. So wave, I wonder if I could actually tighten that up a little bit. Let me just want to, well, I think I've got it okay at that point. Anyway, you wouldn't want to be holding too much cash in this position at the moment, you know, being at an old high, being in wave 4s and 5s here. Yeah, it's the sort of end of the trend, you know, but still, yeah, that's sort of where it is. So we'll be looking at it like this, and like I said, this wave 3 could be higher up here, but that's about it really. So not much to talk about even from sort of yesterday. Yesterday we were looking for some sort of ABC that could come back to this wave 4. Normally I find there's normally a bit of an angle going up here for these wave 4s, but yeah, that's where that is. So nothing to write home about at this particular point in time with all of this, so it's just chugging along. We have to be a little bit careful, because I mean this is much the same as the Nasdaq and the S&P. Now we're looking, as mentioned in the US videos, they start their earnings next week. The big banks and that are around the sort of Friday, which is the 14th, not the 13th as I said yesterday. I don't know where I got that from, but there's also other companies, you know, regional banks and some smaller tech companies, NanoString and a few others that are reporting earlier. So it's kind of really starting next week in a way, you know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they will probably give us a bit of a lead. Some of those companies will give us a bit of a lead into what some of the bigger ones might be facing at that point. So yeah, let's just see how that plays out. So that's that really on the DAX. So the FTSEs, let me just clean this up a little bit here. So we're just, not much is happening here either really, is it? It's kind of not doing much at all. We're still in this third wave here though, and that can push up. This looks corrective to me, so we should push up here. Wave 4 can pull back. So when you think you found a top in there, then I'll just take it to the 72. Then you could estimate this from 72 back down into here, and then a move up at that point. So this has been a bit like watching the paint dry, this particular trend, but it's, you know, it's doing everything that we thought it's doing. In this case, you know, this is quite low down here, so as an A and a B and a C wave here, that's quite good really. You know, that's what it could be at this wave 3 here. And we may get the wave 4 and the 5 up. We'll just have to see where the rest of the world is at that point and how quickly it moves there, and so on. So this is also the 61.8% here as well. So it's going to be, you know, that's what's going to send it back down here. So I wouldn't be having too much capital on this here at the moment. We'll try to pick up the wave 4 pullback, and we'll try to build in some long trades on this little move coming up here. But yeah, just continue to watch the paint dry, and that would be that. So we'll go over to the FX side, and there has been a little, just doing a bit of housework, there has been a little bit of movement here. So I'm coming into the US dollar, and what's happened here is that we've got this, looks like this move up here is a little ABC pattern up here, because as I noted before, we had this down to this point, and we could go up from that point, but then we had that 1, 2, 3, and we came down to here. So then we had like 5 waves down here, and now we've got 3 waves. So we've taken this low out here. I mean, this one, this one has always been the important one, of course. And then we've had this one here. If that was breached, then it was kind of like, well, we could have that 5 waves down here. And now that we've got this ABC back up here, and this one has taken this low out, which was important. So, you know, we've got 2 boxes ticked to tell me that we're going to go further down at this point. Now this will also be 5 waves down here, and we might have another little low to come in and hit that this level here, halfway between 1 and 2 here, the 0.5, and also this old low over here. So we'll probably see another little rally come up here somewhere, and then we'll see it move down again. So we're seeing that weaker US dollar. So if we're seeing a weaker US dollar, then we're seeing a higher euro, higher sterling, higher Aussie, higher, we get too high, but you know, that's it at this point. So it's starting to break down. The other thing I wanted to say is that we had started a while back looking at this as wave 3 as an option, and wave 4 here, and that means we'd be looking for 5 waves down to make wave 5 here. So it could be quite a bit of a journey here. We also need to be a little bit mindful that we could still have, I've got, you know, because we had wave B here, and now it's not that wave B in 3 waves here, but I'm going to put it here as an alternative wave B, because we may get some other particular pattern here that could still be a wave B here. So I still need to clarify this being a wave 4. I mean, this is being a wave 4 here, kind of is confirmed on the sterling, not so much the euro dollar. So it is in some cases and not others. So it's possible that we've got some sort of wave B down here, because wave Bs are a little bit like wave 4s. They can be complicated, and it's going to be complicated getting through this trading level 1 here, this 100 here anyway. But if we can keep, and also coming through group 1 here, 1, 2 and 3 is always, or 1, 2 and 3 up here. We're already deep inside that now. So yeah, normally once the number 2 here becomes the retested resistance, and we'd be pulled down at that point, and because of the structure we'll be, you know, looking down further. So yeah, so that makes it a stronger euro dollar. So yesterday we talked about going long above this top here because we had 5 waves here, and I could look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4 5 here. I could also look at it a little bit differently as well, and I can look at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 here, which I kind of like because it matches up with the euro. And then also too, with this little move up here, we could also expect this to, you know, come very close to the top or touch the top or just go above it a little bit and then have an ABC pattern back again and then make a move up. So what we'll do is we normally just wait for the little B wave over here. And then we also have a bit of a look over here and think we've got group 2 here, 65, 72 and 80. So then we could come over here and go, okay, well, what's the number we could use? Well, that 1109 here looks like pretty nice number to use. Anyway, you can get that on the nose there. And then you could break it down to the 85. Halfway between those two here is the 85, so that will be important. And then you'll have 88 in here. That will also be important as well. And if you're talking about 8, you're talking about group 2 in here. So you know, you can continually breaking it down using the trading levels. And what that will do is that when this moves up, it has moved up there in 5 waves, there may be a top in, and that might be it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we're going into the ABC now. So that if it drops below this low here, right, then you know it's in this ABC mode at this point. And of course, go into the intraday and look at it in a bit more sort of detail at that point. But you should be able to get a better position than just taking the top out here. That's what I'm saying. You know, you could also, if you were up for it, to take a little bit more of a risk and get a very small position from the 50 to the 61.8%, if it even goes that far down. And if it went down here, this number here, the 85, it's not going to punch through that very much. So getting it at that number at 0.1085 and slightly above would be a good position as well at that point, you know. So I'm just going to remove that, and yeah, so you'll just need to do your best to work that situation there. So I'm thinking that's wave 1, and I think this wave 1 can actually go over to this point over here because of that deeper pullback in there, you know. That's what I'm thinking. And this can, I know this can be, we can view this in different ways here. So yeah, anyway, I'll get back to this one, but the pound sterling here was quite sort of simple. We had a nice clean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and anything above this high here, well, I dropped it down a little bit here, would be good to go. So now this particular move through here only pulled back right into our 61.8% mark here. So that's taken that out there. But the same thing will occur here. You just have to hang on to your pants, and we should see, I'm just sort of dramatizing the size of it, but it can pull back, you know, and then go off again. So if you're not long in this already, there will be another opportunity to pull back in here. I'll just leave that out the way here for a moment, but the stop needs to go here, by the way. And you could also do the same thing as well, just go into the intraday and look at the 50-60% here for this. So that's 50-60 there. Maybe I talked about this already, I don't know. I mean, I normally talk about it. So buying the top is okay, but it's there's room for improvement, and this is basically what we're talking, and I talk about it a lot. It's not like it's, you know, I mean, I always pretty much say the same things. So yeah, so some sort of little ABC pattern here, and you could buy in that box there, or a very small position. Look over here, see what your levels are between the, you know, we've got 1.2 here to 1.3 up here. So we've got in between that is 1, 2, 3, 5 and 8, and we're on top of group 1 at the moment. That's a very good sign. That puts us way up here for that. And yeah, this is just the little wave 1 in here, and we're going back for a little wave 2 in here. So you should be able to improve or build on that through there. And you know, you also want to be adding when this expected classic trading levels pattern at this point here. Okay, so when that occurs, you'll be able to pick up another position at that point there. So I'll just leave that as is at that point. So it does mean that we're going to have to rearrange this here. Like we've had wave 1 up here, which was kind of the right thing to do in a way. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we knew that wave 4 was overlapping wave 1, so that was a box that wasn't ticked, so to speak. So now we'll probably need to look at this here as 1 here, and then we'll look at this as 1 here, so 1 and 2 over to here, and 1 and 2 to here. So I'll just mull that over a little bit further, and then this will make wave 3 up here, and wave 4, okay, well, it's just begun. So I'm just going to the next logical step. You know, I always start off conservative and then try to build from that point, so that way I don't get too carried away. So it'll be something like this, I would imagine. So there we go. US dollar down, sterling up, and you'll be seeing the same thing with other markets as well, even commodities as well. So all good. Okay, well, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.